Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to one and all present here. I, Sachin Motwani, President, GTBIT Finishing School, along with my team, welcome you all to the first webinar for the series of career development webinars being organized by GFS in collaboration with the Time Institute. A brief about GFS with the vision of holistic development of students, which is the cornerstone of personal, academic, and career success. We envisage having a positive and enhancing influence on every student, faculty, and staff member during their course of stay and experience at GTBIT. Started in 2012, it has grown a lot outside the campus and currently has a team of 15 dedicated executive student members and our counselor, Dr. Seema Singh. Our today's speaker, Mr. Sunil Dua, is an English honors from Hansraj College, Delhi University. He has more than 30 years of experience in the teaching industry and working with Time as a senior regional head. He teaches verbal section in aptitude-based exams. His experience is in preparing students, those who get their calls from different IIMs for GD or PI. He is also a soft skill training provider. He has guided students in various colleges for their campus recruitments. Hello, sir. Welcome to GFS.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you to all you students. Can we start now?
Yeah, you please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. As Sachin has already given you my introduction, my name is Sunil Dua, and I am with Time Education. Now, what we're actually going to speak about is how to do well in GD. So, if you read PI, we will not touch PI today because it takes a lot of time to discuss GD and PI both together. So, since we have limitations of time, we'll only be talking about GD today. And GD, as you all know, stands for group discussion. All right, very good. So, how many of you have actually participated in some kind of a GD? Yes, I'm sure some of you may have participated in GD and many of you may not have participated in GD. Yes, that's what you think. But I don't believe this. I believe that each one of you has participated in a group discussion. In fact, some of you may have done some group discussion today itself. And I'm sure each one of you has been doing group discussions right since you were, 5-year-old. Have you never got into any kind of discussion with a group? Remember those days? Is this some kind of a group discussion going on? Remember those days when, as a kid, you would decide with your friends what game to play and who will be in your team and who will not be in your team. And the rules of the game, probably they changed every day. So rules of the game were discussed and so many other things. All right. Have you never sat down with your parents, with your family and discussed what should be prepared for dinner today? Or, if you're holding a party, hosting a party at home, then who should be invited, who should not be invited, who will make the arrangements, how will the arrangements be done, what will be the menu, all those things. Have you never done that? Have you not sat with your friends to discuss which movie should be seen this weekend or what should be done, during the week, what vacation to go for, where to go for and how to manage all that? Yes. So please be rest assured that each one of you here has done some kind of a group discussion in your life. All right. And maybe several times, in one's life. So it's not something new for you. It is not something that, you are completely unaware of. It is only that I am here to talk about how to do a group discussion in a formal manner. So group discussions have been done. Maybe in a formal manner, you may not have participated. So today I'm here only to discuss how should we do a group discussion, or what are the rules of the game of doing a group discussion in a formal kind of an atmosphere. All right. So I hope you have your, writing material and your notebooks in front of you, so that wherever required, you can make your notes and you can probably relate to them whenever you need to get into some kind of a group discussion. All right. So we begin with what is a group discussion, and we will, if we want to define it, then here's the definition for you. It says a group discussion is a forum. All right. That group of people is called a forum, where people sit together, discuss a topic with the common objective of finding a solution for a problem. It may not be a problem always, but then you are looking for some kind of a common, ground on which the issue can be discussed. All right. Or it could also be discussing an issue given to them. I hope you're all familiar with what is happening on our borders with China today. Yes. So a group of people sit together and discuss this Galvan River, intrusions that China is making, and we've lost many of our soldiers also in the last 2 days at this Galvan River, near Ladakh. So that could also be an issue, and what are the reasons behind it, or why is it being done, and how deep is the trouble? All these things is a part of the group discussion. All right. Or we are given a problem and then we find a solution. All right. So this is what a group discussion actually means. Now the point is that, is it actually useful to you or not? I mean, why are you doing it? Is it really useful to you? Would you ever be required to do a group discussion? And where would the application come? And some of you have already participated in group discussions, but then what is the real application of these group discussions? And how soon or where will you encounter group discussions? I believe the audience here is, of a mixed group, maybe first year, second year, pre-final year, final year, all together. So, what about internships? Do group discussions take place at the time of internships? In some companies and some, organizations, group discussions do take place. What happens is that when they have a large number of applicants, based on the applications they receive, they call a certain group of people. And among that group, they hold some discussions, and they do the process of GD, and then they shortlist a small group. All right. And out of that small group, maybe some are interviewed and then finally selected. So group discussions have been seen when somebody goes for internships, and internships, as you all know, happen, right from sometimes the first year itself. We are going through some different kind of a problem, the world over, and therefore the pattern has changed a little. But then under normal circumstances, we did have group discussions happening even after the first year of admission. All right. So internships is one area where you could be encountering group discussions for the first time in your life, all those who have not done any group discussion earlier. All right. The second is the campus placement. Now, a lot of companies come on your campus to recruit, and a lot of them conduct group discussions as a part of the written examination. As a part of the examination, let's not say written or whatever, examination. What are the things that they go for? They go for written examination, and then they go for a group discussion, and then finally the interview. All right. So mostly we have these three things that are followed, and group discussion therefore becomes an important part of the campus placement. Sometimes they also have essay writing. All right. So whatever the company chooses, group discussion can also be an important part of campus placement. For those who are not looking for campus placements and those who are looking for, jobs outside, there also a group discussion may take place. So it's simply not, when at the time of campus placement, it could also be when you're looking for jobs outside the campus. Off-campus placements also can have group discussions as a part of their selection process. Then we go for higher education. Some of you may have gone through group discussions while you were, graduating from your school to college. Some colleges, some universities conduct group discussions even in their selection process of undergraduate programs. All right. But when you go for your master's, it is almost a certainty that you will be going in for a group discussion. All right. And of course, we also go for group discussions while we are seeking employment. So group discussions can happen when you're seeking employment, and not only now when you seek employment, but when you change your job, then also you may go through a rigor of group discussion. So this is not something that will happen only this time, the first job. It may happen in the second, third, fourth, and fifth job also. All right. So this becomes an important part of your professional life. Then, of course, do we have it anywhere else also? Do we have it while in employment? If you've already secured a job, will you still go through group discussions? Answer is yes. And I believe that these group discussions will be almost on a daily basis. There may not be a single day of your life when you don't go for a group discussion. And sometimes it may happen, morning to evening. You discuss with your bosses, you discuss with your subordinates, you discuss with your peers. You have a group discussion with your buyers, your sellers. So a group discussion is something that is a part of my professional life always. Anywhere else can I be a part of group discussion? All right. While we were talking about higher education, I did mention that this would be a part of your entrance or admissions criteria. But please remember, a lot of these schools from where people do their MBAs, their entire education is based on group discussions, what we call case studies. All right. So a lot of classes, a lot of education happens through case studies and group discussions. Case study is nothing but just a kind of a group discussion where a topic is given or a situation is given and you're supposed to discuss it. And that's the, if it's a situation, then it's probably a case study. And if it's a topic, then it's probably a group discussion. But the process is almost the same. All right. So this is an important part of group discussion also in the higher education. Most of the lectures, most of the education, most of the time they are discussing, cases which are there in various companies. Maybe true, maybe, all created, but it is a part of learning. So please remember, this is something that is going to stay with you for a very long time to come. And therefore, you should be good at it. All right. The types of group discussion. What are the different types and how are they conducted? Broadly, group discussions could be of three basic types. All right. One is a topic-based. Clearly, a topic is given, as I've told you. We talked about the Galvan River encounter. We can also talk about CAA, We can talk about coronavirus pandemic. We could talk about the lockdown, whether lockdown should continue or it should be, we should begin to unlock the lockdown. All those different discussions, all those different topics can be a part of group discussion. All right. Then, as I told you, a case study can be done. So you are given a case and you're supposed to discuss that case. That becomes a case-based group discussion. All right. Sometimes an article is also given. All right. And the discussion happens on the article. Whatever the view of the author may be, based on that, a discussion can take place. Let's say they give you an article currently, we've had a tragedy in the film industry very recently. All right. So let's say, I'm sure you're aware that a lot of, news is being spread about the reasons or some, gray areas of the film industry. And therefore, a lot of people are now coming out of their shells and trying to speak fearlessly on various, dark areas of the industry. So there is an article that is written by somebody on the suicide committed by this great actor, Sushant. And the article is given to you. It's supposed to be read and then discussed. All right. So some people are speaking in favor of it. Some people are speaking against it. So this article becomes my case now, not the suicide, but the article becomes the case. So whatever is the viewpoint of the author or whatever things that he's discussed, we can pick thread by thread and start discussing that. So it becomes an article-based and not a case-based group discussion. All right. And of course, we could also have a group discussion on maybe Gulabo Sitabo. All right. So any movie or any documentary or anything that was, presented. For example, we could also talk about doing a group discussion. The PM gives an interview for about 45 minutes to a channel. All right. So we see that entire, interview and then have a group discussion on that. That could also become a part of group discussion. All right. So it could actually be a feature film. It could actually be some kind of, a video on YouTube, or it could be some interview that takes place and we have a group discussion on that. So these are broadly the different kinds of group discussions that we can have. All right. Now, before I move further, let me make a few things clear. What is the purpose of a group discussion? All right. If I go back a little, the purpose of the group discussion, as it said, is to find a solution for a problem or discussing an issue given to them. All right. So when you are looking for a solution to a problem or you are discussing an issue, the purpose is to find an answer. All right. For example, in general, if I say that the education system needs to be revised, all right, and here it's an issue that needs to be discussed, or CAA is good for the country, all right, or Kashmir is, they're moving in the right direction. So these are various, topics that we could take for discussion. But when I talk about these various topics and I hold my opinion, I have some opinion. So let's say when we say that Kashmir is moving in the right direction, or we should boycott China's products, we should retaliate against the incursions made by the Chinese. Whenever we speak on this, what happens? our attitude mainly is either in favor of it or against it. Now, should this be done in a group discussion or not? The answer is a strict no. Remember, this word is discussion and not a debate. So remember, you are not supposed to take a stand. Because taking a stand means that you are already in favor of a particular, stance. And therefore, there is no point in discussing with you. Unless you are absolutely, balanced and unbiased, you will not be able to do a discussion. Because discussion can only happen when you see the pros and cons of a situation. So please remember, in a GD, we are not supposed to debate, we are supposed to discuss. So if I am against CAA and I keep talking about it in a negative manner, I keep looking for reasons to say, no, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And I say it with 3-4 different, points. My GD is not going well. I will not be appreciated for taking a stand. A discussion is something where, you need to look at the pros and cons. Let's say there is a crossing outside your home and you're asked, should we build a flyover over here? We all know building a flyover is a very good thing. It decongests roads, it decongests the traffic. But then, would you not like to see the negatives of building a flyover here? Because if I have a crossing here and to decongest it, I build a flyover here. And what if here I create a free flow of traffic, and the traffic moves on, and a kilometer away there is another traffic signal. So what have I done? I have just shifted the traffic from this crossing onto that crossing, and I've created a bigger jam over there. So of what benefit is this flyover where, the traffic was being divided between these two intersections, and therefore it was being controlled, but now all the traffic is falling on the next crossing, and it's creating a bigger jam and a bigger nuisance over there. Should I not look at why this flyover should not be made, or simply go for the flyover because it always will decongest traffic? It won't be a good idea if I don't look at the other side. I must always look at the other side. All right. If I'm talking about Kashmir issue and I'm all in favor of what is being done is absolutely correct, then I'll not be able to see the negatives of the Kashmir issue. If there is a topic which says, should we attack Pakistan for what it is doing to us in Kashmir? Very simply, the answer could be yes, because we can't tolerate their nonsense for all times to come. But then, what is the reason behind this? Have you discussed it completely? Why are they troubling us in Kashmir? Why are they asking for Kashmir and not asking for Punjab or Gujarat or Haryana or some other state? Did you actually see the entire history of Kashmir? And if you feel that the history of Kashmir should be known, only then we can confirm whether their demand for independent Kashmir or demand for Kashmir is justified or not. Simply saying that what they are doing to us in Kashmir is not good, therefore we must retaliate. And if we retaliate, then does it mean that we go to war with them? Will it be good for us? Should we not look at that, from that perspective as well? Will it actually help us? What if it creates more problems for us? Because if there is a war, then problems are on both sides. It can't be only on one side. All right. So please keep it in mind that a discussion means discussion, which means we talk about both sides of the coin. I should not be biased. I should not be predisposed to a certain opinion. I should not be already in favor of one side and don't look at the other side. So what will happen is whenever somebody speaks against what I have said, I will not like the intrusion. I will not even listen to him properly. And therefore, if he has an important point, I may have missed it completely. All right. So please do it as a discussion and not as a debate. Number one. Point number two, very important again. The objective of a discussion of a GD is to find a solution to the problem or find the answer as yes or no. Should India attack Pakistan for what it is doing to us in Kashmir? The answer probably is being looked at as yes or no. All right. Should we change our education system? Again, the answer is looking for yes or no. All right. Ram Mandir should be made in Ayodhya. Answer again is yes or no. So most of the group discussion topics will look at the answer as yes or no. Unless, of course, we are talking about some abstract topics or, topics that just need to be discussed. So when the answer is being looked at as yes or no, then should I quickly try to discuss and find the answer yes or no and tell the, examiner, the person who conducts the GD is called a moderator, and tell the moderator that the group has decided that Ram Mandir should be built. Good idea. Very nice. But then have you discussed the entire issues that pertain to Ram Mandir? Or since you like a mandir to be created, therefore you say Ram Mandir should be created. That's the trouble. Although the purpose of a GD is to reach a conclusion, although the purpose of the GD is to arrive at an answer, yes or no, although the purpose of a GD is to find a solution to the problem, you should never try to find the solution. You should never try to give a kind of a situation or a condition where you are confirming yes or no. Now, why do I say that? While that is the objective, I'm still asking you not to arrive at the conclusion. Understand 2 or 3 things. When I want to discuss topics like Kashmir, Pakistan, CA, coronavirus, China, do you think 15 minutes of group discussion is enough to, discuss all the minute details, all the important points, all the nuances in 15-20 minutes? Number one. Do you think you are intelligent enough, well-informed, that you can, decide on these matters within 15 minutes? Are you the most intelligent group in the world that can actually decide these issues in 15 minutes? Have you been able to take into consideration everything that needs to be discussed? If the answer is no, then you have to be careful. If the answer is yes, then I think we don't need any, parliament. We don't need any Supreme Court. All we need is you people who are doing this GD today. And, you should be made the people who are running the country. For years and years and decades, we have not been able to decide, should we attack Pakistan for what they're doing to us? What should our strategy be towards Chinese products? Should we, retaliate against China? How do we control our, borders with Bangladesh? How to solve the Nepal problem? How to improve the economic crisis? Answers have not been found for so many years now by the experts of the field, by historians, by economists. But here are a group of, a few people who are giving answers in 15 minutes to the most difficult, decisions that need to be taken also. Please don't be in a great hurry to arrive at the conclusion. All you need to do in this is to keep on discussing point after point and take each thread out of the point and start discussing that. The more you discuss, the better the group discussion goes. Not the faster you give a solution, the better the group discussion goes. No. When you want to give an answer immediately, or sometimes open with the statement that I think CAA is the best thing that has happened to the country. They make such startling statements as if without a discussion they're already sure it is the best thing that has happened. You are not doing a debate, my dear. You're only discussing. Allow the other views also to come and then say whether it's the worst or the best thing that has happened to the country. All right. So in those 15-20 minutes, we cannot take a call immediately, and therefore we should not be in a great hurry to arrive at a conclusion. On the contrary, we should give an impression to the moderator that we've got so much to discuss. You have given us only 20 minutes to discuss. Give us 20 days also and we'll still be discussing because we've got so much material to discuss. This is the kind of impression that you should give to the moderator rather than trying to arrive at a conclusion within 15 minutes. I hope this point is clear. Anyway, let's move on. These two are very important parts. It's not a debate, it is a discussion. So go on both sides of the situation. In the same sentence, you can talk about a positive and a negative in the same sentence. All right. It only shows that you are very open-minded, balanced view. You don't have any, inclinations to any side, and therefore you are doing justice to the topic. So this is number one. Discuss. Number two, don't be in a hurry to form a conclusion, although that is the main purpose of the discussion. All right. Moving on. We talk about the topic-based group discussions. What are the different topic-based discussions? Topic-based discussions could be completely knowledge-based. All right. Knowledge-based could be what? Some are evergreen topics, it says, and some are current topics. The topics that I talked about, COVID, China, Pakistan may not be a current topic. Nepal could be a current topic. Pakistan can come into the category of evergreen topic. 20 years ago also we were discussing Kashmir and Pakistan. Now also we're discussing, and maybe 20 years later also we'll still be talking about Kashmir and Pakistan and terrorism and all these things. So they become evergreen. Current would be things that are happening today. All right, something that is related to the current situations. And they are all knowledge-based. Without having good knowledge of this, you will not be able to do a good GD. So having knowledge of this, very important. And where do we get our knowledge from? Newspapers and magazines. Make sure that you're reading newspapers and magazines on a daily basis. This is absolutely must. All right. No matter how much time you spend, 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, but make sure it happens on a daily basis. All right. And gain knowledge. Just don't, solve Sudokus or look at the Bollywood, news and shut the newspaper. So, knowledge would be required for both evergreen as well as current. Talking about environment, climate change, they'll all fall under evergreen topics. All right. Then we have something known as abstract. All right. Abstract topic. All right. The topic is water. So next 20 minutes, you're speaking about water. Green is better than red. So next 20 minutes, you're talking about green is better than red. All that glitters is not gold. So These are abstract topics. There is no particular knowledge that you need to learn. It is a condensation of all the knowledge that you have. You could define green is better than red. All right. Whether we are comparing vegetarianism to non-vegetarianism, or we are comparing, let's say, green stands for agriculture, and the meat industry. Green also stands for right-wing parties, and red could stand for the left-wing parties. Green can also stand for democracy, and red could stand for communism. All right. So anything, green versus red, is what we are talking about. And what about a green signal versus a red traffic signal? Don't you get a sigh of relief, a glint of happiness on your face when you see a green signal, on the road? Yes. So we could move into any direction. They are not purely knowledge based. It's a condensation of knowledge. It's an overall, a base of knowledge that is being tested, not of any kind of, any particular kind of knowledge that is being tested. All right. So these are the topic-based group discussions that we get. We also get some other types of GDs. Now, what are they? What could be the knowledge-based topics that we are talking about? Economics, anything to do with economy, anything to do with the financial sector, anything to do with the markets could be a topic that could come under economics. Political, we could talk about, the changing scenario in the country where, there are regional parties are also gaining a lot of importance now when it comes to creating national parties. Today, we don't have national parties, we have national fronts. UPA and ND are fronts, conglomerate of parties, and not, two big parties. All right. So that could be a part of the political system that we have. Then it could be something to do with the social sector, society, the kind of, we saw this huge exodus of people from one place to another during the lockdown. And we saw some very tragic scenes. We saw some very difficult moments of the people. So it is touching upon our society's, interests. Therefore, it could be a social topic. All right. Cultural and support and sports. I'm sorry, 2020 has not been a very good year for both these areas. In both these areas, major events are being cancelled. Our cricket tournaments, domestic cricket tournaments, also being cancelled. IPL, and even international, events are being cancelled. Even Olympics seems to be in some kind of jeopardy this time. So let's see whether we're going to see Olympics or not. All right. And of course, technology, anything to do with technology could also be under knowledge-based GDs. All right. Then the kind of cases, as we said that we're going to do some case studies also. So what kind of cases do we get? See, some cases, as it suggests, are purely related to business. There are some employees who are, selling the secrets of the company to some other competitor, and therefore there is some trouble. A CEO of the company is cheating the company, and, you are his subordinate, and what should you do? Should you report the matter or not report the matter, a case could come. All right. Two top, technocrats of the company have quit the company and joined competition. So what to do? All right. So your, the company's volumes of business, their profitability is regularly going down for the last 3 years. How to manage that? Then, of course, there are some HR problems. Employees are not happy with the management. They got a very poor revision of salaries last month. So they are threatening to go on strike. There are some people who are poaching the employees, all right, and they are again creating nuisance. There are some people, some senior people who are presenting bogus bills to the company and burdening them with a lot of expenses. So this could be again some kind of an HR difficulty. And of course, we have social here also, and we have social here also. Now, this social is little different when we talk about society. Problems between husband and wife is a social matter, and it can be a case study. All right. Extramarital affairs could be another area where, we need to understand whether this is good or not. All right. Your immediate boss is having an affair in the company, and his wife treats you as a brother. So what should your role be? How should you react to this? All right. It could be between, father and son, or brothers fighting over inheritance. So different cases and different, problems you need to discuss. Remember, the mantra is to discuss and not find a solution, because here also solutions are required. All right. After every case, there will be a question. How will you like to help Mr. Avinash? Avinash is the owner of the business where he's going through a lot of problems. All right. How will you save Ajay's married life? So there are direct questions given after this. Again, the idea is to discuss and don't offer solutions, because sometimes there is not enough knowledge, there is not enough information in the case. And therefore, without getting that more information, you will not be able to decide whether this solution will be good or not. So don't jump to conclusions. Look for more information that you require rather than offering solutions without taking into consideration those pieces of information. All right. So discuss as much as possible. That is the mantra. Now the fundamentals, the organization of a GD, how is it? As I told you, the person who conducts a GD is called a moderator. All right. How many people at one time sit for a GD? If I talk about an ideal size, then it would be something between 10 and 15. All right, that's an ideal size, an average size, but otherwise it could be anywhere between 5 and 20. When we don't have a lot of people left, then we do it with 4 or 5 people also. And when we have a lot of people coming in, and therefore we enlarge our size to 20 also. But ideal size would be between 10 and 15. All right. Seating arrangement, any good seat, anything that is preferred. The answer is that you may not get an opportunity to choose a seat, because sometimes the labels are already there, your names are already written, and therefore you do not get a choice. But sometimes there is a possibility you're standing outside a room and waiting for the door to open, and you are the first one at the door to enter. All right. And suddenly the door opens and this person comes and says, all right, please take your seats. And there is no seating arrangement over there. Therefore, you are in a position where you can choose a seat. So is it a good, opportunity for you? The answer is yes. It can be. Because see, when you're sitting on a round table, then no seat is good, no seat is bad. But when you're sitting on a rectangular table, then the two seats at the head of the, at the head would be good seats. All right. If you're sitting on a square table, the middle seat on all the sides will be a good seat. So if you get an opportunity, you should choose one of these seats. Now the point is that what is the criteria for a good seat? The criteria for a good seat is from where you can see maximum number of people. That would be a good seat. So sit in a place where you are visible and you can see maximum number of people. You may not be able to see all the people, but then maximum number of people. If you're on the length of a rectangular table, all right, and you're in the middle of that length, what will happen? You'll have three people on this side, three people on this side. And to look at them, you'll have to turn your head completely at 90 degrees to be able to see them, which is not very easy, which is not very comfortable. All right. So there are some bad seats also. But then please remember, as I said, most of the time you don't get a choice to choose a seat. Therefore, sit wherever you are and try to make the best use of this. Sometimes a good seat also may not give you the benefit. How? Because what matters is what you speak. What are the points that you make? How strong are your points? That is more important than the seat. Yes, seat can give you some kind of an added advantage. All right. Then how much time is allotted? The answer I've already given to you. It's somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes. And depending on the number of students, it can be extended to 30 minutes also. But mostly we have an ideal size 10 to 15 will have 15 to 20 minutes as the ideal time. In some situations, it may be reduced to 10 and maybe extended to 30 minutes. All right. Does time really matter? Answer is not really. What matters is how much have you spoken, how well have you spoken, how did you make some strong points. What if I speak for 7 minutes out of 15? Am I a good speaker? The answer is no. You've not done a good job. Ideally, if there are 10 people and 15 minutes, that means you get 1.5 minutes for each candidate. And if you've spoken for 7 minutes out of 15, then you've actually spoken for 5 people. So what is this? Are you trying to be mean and selfish by only speaking yourself and not allowing others to speak? It speaks poorly of you. So please do not try to speak too much. Try to speak about the time that you're given. Let's say if you are, a good speaker and a lot of people are not speaking and you get opportunities, then speak for about 3 to 4 minutes if you are given, so much opportunities. But don't try to steal time from others. Don't try to, overpower with your high-pitched voice and not allow others to speak. It shows that you don't have any leadership qualities. You lack leadership qualities because a leader is a person who gives equal opportunities to his team, to all the team members. All right. So you may suffer, problems if you speak too much. And of course, if you don't speak or speak too little, then also you face problems. Moderator role and, is communication. Moderator is not a part of the group. Please remember, it is group discussion. So please do not look at the moderator when you are speaking. You have to make an eye contact with everybody. That is why I spoke about the seating arrangement. All right. The idea is to be able to make an eye contact with everybody when you are speaking. And moderator is not to be looked at. Moderator is a person who has a few specific duties. I'll tell you those. Number one, he allots you seats. In case they're allotting seats, he's the one who will tell you where you need to sit. All right. Second role of the moderator is to give you the rules of the GT. Third, he gives you the topic. And topic is generally spoken. Very rarely you find a piece of paper on which the topic is already written. So it's generally spoken. And therefore, it's important that you carry a notebook with you or a sheet of, A4 size sheet of paper so that you can go and write the topic. So he dictates the topic. Number 4, he starts the GD. Because after he gives you the topic, you're supposed to spend those 2-3 minutes or 4 minutes to jot down some points and then start speaking. So he begins the GD for you. All right? He ends the GD. So he also makes a signal when the GD is to be ended. All right? Now, in between his beginning and ending, there is something else also he does. I'll talk about those. Number 1, he checks the group if the group is talking about something that is not relevant to the topic. So he says, no, this is not required to be discussed. So let's skip this. So we will not discuss this. All right. Secondly, if the GD or the discussion is getting repetitive, we are repeating the same point over and over again, he'll say, this has been discussed a lot. Let's not discuss this. Discuss something new. All right. Number 3, his third responsibility is that he maintains order in the group. If there is anybody who is creating a mischief, getting up from his seat, raising his voice, fighting with others, creating a problem, anything of that sort, he will check. He will say, this is not allowed. Please make sure that you don't do this. All right. So these are the 3 basic roles of a moderator, while he has the other roles also. These 3 roles, he sometimes chooses not to exercise, not to function. Why? Because he wants the GD, the group, to do these, changes on itself, by itself rather. All right. So it wants the group to do it by itself. If the topic is irrelevant, or the discussion is going irrelevant, the group should be able to decide, all right, too much irrelevant talk is going on. Let's come back to the point. And therefore, you give a point which needs to be carried forward. All right. He wants the group to also decide whether it has been repeated enough or not. He also wants the group to exercise restraint, exercise discipline in the group. So he may not try to intervene if these 3 problems arise. He's waiting for the group to go on a self-control mode and improve themselves. I hope the point is clear. So, although these 3 roles are also of the moderator, he sometimes chooses not to exercise those roles. Next, start and finish off a discussion. So, are you a hero if you start a discussion and also start or finish, or start and finish, whatever? Answer is yes and no. Anybody who starts a GD does seem to tell the moderator that he is confident, he is well read, he knows the topic, and there are some leadership qualities that can be exercised. But sometimes what happens is, since I've said that this is good if you start, so people are waiting, They are not, when those 2-3 minutes are given to start, they are not trying to build points. They are only waiting that the moment the moderator says start, and I'll be the first one to start. So they are only waiting. And when they are waiting and not actually building points, they come out with some weak point. All right. Which is easily, overcome by others. And therefore, you may not get the advantage that you thought you will get. So simply starting is not enough. It is also what kind of a point did you come out with. There are some benefits when you start the GD. It sends a message to the group also that you're confident. Sends a message that you know your subject. Sends a message that next time when you want to start, you will get an equally attentive audience, because they know that this guy is smart. He'll again come out with something new, something good or strong. All right. So a platform is already created for you if you begin the GD, but begin it with a bang. If you don't have a strong point, please don't bother to begin the GD. Let it be. It also does not mean over here that those who start speaking at the second place or third place or even fifth place, they don't have a chance of winning the GD. No, that's not true. All right. So what matters most is knowledge. Same as with finish also. If you don't finish the GD, it doesn't mean that you are weak. Addressing group members. As I said, you're supposed to discuss it with the group. Therefore, keep looking at the group. All right. Look at every individual of the group. Don't focus only on one or two people. And especially when you're, answering somebody else's point, and whether you are supporting it or going against it. But when you're answering you tend to look at the same person. It is not good. Please don't look at one person. Look at everybody. Try to match with everybody's eyes, turn by turn. All right. And more so when you are opposing somebody. Suppose I say something and you don't like my idea. All right. And you want to oppose it. So if you keep looking at me, I am quite sure inside my heart that what I said is right. And therefore, I will not be very easy to convince that I am wrong. So it is in your own interest that you stop looking at me, you look at others. You make sure that others are in agreement with you. And after if 4 or 5 people in the group are in agreement with you, how does it matter whether I agree with you or not? It doesn't matter, because you've already got support of 4, 5, 6 people. All right. So do not look into the eyes of the person whom you are disagreeing with. Choose to look at some other people. Don't also point blankly say, I disagree with you. What you're saying is absolutely wrong. This is discourteous, not fair. You are a group. Be ready to take everybody's opinion. Even if it is wrong, you still have to accept it as true. If you want to contradict, then you say, I completely agree with you, my friend, but please let's look at it from this point of view also. And now what you're going to say is completely opposite to what he has said. All right. So there is a polite way of disagreeing with somebody. Do that. Now, how would you know that others are appreciating you? You come to know that others are appreciating you by a nod of their heads. The moment you see a nod of the head, be sure that he is appreciating you. He agrees with what you're saying. Look for these nods. Until you look into their eyes, you will not get these nods. And once you get these nods, you are absolutely sure that you are on track. All right. So do address the group members. Moderator is not to be looked at when you're doing your GD. Now, all that I've said here, there could be variations in this. There is no fixed rule for GD. They can do it anyway. They can have 20 people. They can, simply say, all right, anybody who's ready after 2 minutes may start. I will not give any, signal to start. In that case, you have to wait for 2 minutes to be over and then start. So no signal is going to come. All right. So there could be some variations in the rules. The rules are generally given in the beginning. All right. Also, create a variation in your own speech. So sometimes you can add a little humor to it, and become a little more serious. Also, quote examples that you want to, and accept the views of others. Don't be unreceptive to the views of others. All right. The other variations that we have seen is that sometimes there is a group of 10 people sitting, and they give 2 minutes to speak to each one separately, and then After everybody is spoken for 2 minutes each, then they have a discussion on that for 10 minutes or 7 minutes. So these variations are there. Sometimes they choose, a moderator within the group. So this person, while he's sitting on his seat, he's asked to manage the affair. All right. So different kind of variations can also happen. There are no fixed rules for GDs. Scoring marks in a GD, if it is knowledge based, you should be completely aware of the facts and the information that you're trying to give. All right. Very important. Once you've stated some knowledge from, whatever fact, you could generate your opinions on that. You could generate people's opinion. You could quote people's opinion on that. All right. So adding to point is also very important. Somebody has said something, you can add to his point. Not simply say what you have said is absolutely correct and don't add anything. Then you're giving him points. But if you add and it's better information, you get more points than him. All right. Try to be original. Try not to be repetitive unless you have no other point left. And it is important that you speak a little, so you may repeat a point, but it won't carry much weight. But yes, come out with as many original points as possible. And see, sometimes the GD is, very inclined towards one thing. For example, if I give you a topic, should smoking be banned in universities? Now, most of us will say, yes, it should be banned. But can you actually point out, reasons for why it should not be banned? Because if it was such an easy decision that it should be banned, it would have been banned long, long ago. But it is not banned. All right. So can we think of some points which are contrary to the general belief, but yes, they are important to be considered. All right. Build others' points by, yes, you can build on others' points also by providing some kind of a logic, example, a rationale. So try to build more points on that also. You may get more points than him also, if that is there. Statistics, examples, and providing counterpoint, but in a polite manner, not completely outspoken or in a rude manner. All right. So here again, if you're providing a counterpoint, use these different ways of giving strength to your point, even if it is against what somebody has said. All right. What really gives you marks is knowledge, and then of course how you present it, and that means you have to be confident. A logical flow of argument is required. It cannot be random. You talk about something that happened later and then talk about something that happened earlier after that. Not fair. Yes, very important. Make short sentences. Don't make very long sentences. You will get confused yourself what you're trying to say. So simple, short, easy to understand sentence. You may be good in your English, but what about others? You need their nods, you need their approval. So till you are making short sentences, you can't be sure that others are following what you are saying. All right? Voice modulation. Don't stick to only one, modulation of the voice. Move your voice up and down depending on what you're trying to say. Keep a friendly smile on the face. Do not sulk. Do not make a face, especially when somebody is saying which you don't like. It sometimes, shows on your face that this is something that you don't like. All right, don't do that. Body language, very important. A lot of marks are given for keeping a very natural and unbiased body language. All right. Yes, whatever you say has to be said with great belief in it. You should believe in it yourself before you want others to believe in it. So there's a lot of assertion that you need to add to it. Aggression, I may not agree with that word aggression at all, and abrasive also. Aggression is with, a lot of violence and hatred. So I will not use the word aggressive here. Please do not use this. And abrasive is also something that hurts. Do not use this. Only assertive. Say it in a forceful manner, and but don't be aggressive and abrasive. All right. Eye contact with everybody, as I've said, not with the moderator. He is not a part of the group. All right. Listening to the speakers is very important. In fact, as important as you are, as your speaking is. And sometimes you're also asked to make a summary of what has been said. So if you've not listened carefully, you will not be able to make a summary. All right. So make sure that you listen to them also when you are not speaking. Speak only when you have a point to convey. Do not, let's say somebody has said something and this is getting repetitive or this is irrelevant. So you simply say, no, this point has been discussed a lot. Let's not discuss it. You are not a referee over here. You are not a judge over here. You are a speaker over here. So you are a part of the group that is supposed to discuss. So if you are not discussing, simply trying to, be a judge over here, then you are also not doing your duty. So speak only when you have a point to convey. All right. Yes, it is an adult to adult communication. It is not between two children who are fighting over, an issue, and because they disagree on it, therefore they are becoming violent and ill-mannered. So don't be ill-mannered. All right. Yes, sometimes it does happen that it is drifting. It is moving away from the topic. We are discussing irrelevant things. Please be strong, act like a leader, and tell the group that, friends, we are going off the track, and let's therefore start discussing this. So you have to give a topic or give a point which needs to be discussed further and bring it back on the track. All right. Sometimes it so happens. I hope I'm not taking a lot of time, so another 2 minutes now. Is it okay? Or you want me to continue for longer period?
Sir, you can continue as per your wish.
All right. All right. Okay. So, sometimes it so happens that you are in the GD and there is somebody sitting next to you. All right. This person tried to make an attempt to speak, but then somebody else was, louder than this person, and therefore he went on to speak. This person tried again after a few minutes. Again, the same thing happened. Could not participate in the GD, but did have 1 or 2 points to make. You have been noticing this because you were sitting close to this person, so you noticed this happening. Now, what happens is that there is a silence for a moment which is not very normal to have silence in a good GD atmosphere. But then let's say you get an opportunity to speak and you say, friends, here is somebody who wants to speak but is not getting an opportunity. So let's allow this person to speak. Should this be done or not? The answer is yes and no. Now, I'll tell you what is why yes and no. When you said that this person wants to speak, now everybody looked at this person. All right. And it is possible that this person was generally a weak in confidence person. He was not a very confident person. He was underconfident person. He or she, whoever. All right. And therefore, when everybody looked at this person, so the entire spotlight was on this person. So what happens when an underconfident person gets the spotlight? He feels more scared. Oh my God, everybody looking at me. And when this person gets more scared, he or she may forget what he wanted to say. All right? And therefore, this person is not willing to speak. What have you done? You have unnecessarily exposed a weak candidate in the group. So what will happen? You may actually lose marks for exposing an underconfident person. Let's take the other view. All right. Now, this person was waiting for the opportunity, but because this person did not have a high-pitched voice, so he could not enter the discussion easily. And here you gave this person a platform to speak, and off he went with some great points. What happens here? You are chosen as the leader. You are already becoming a leader of the group. You are giving opportunities to others who are not able to speak. And this is always a good sign of a good manager when he listens to each and every member of his team. All right. But then before you do this, how are you sure happen? The first one will happen or the second one will happen. So what do you do and how do you do? See, I don't mind if you want to, if you're so confident about yourself, I don't mind if you want to get into this. But then sometimes it becomes a little, it backfires. So the best way is that even if you've done this and this person has not spoken, then you should be ready to take the, game forward and contribute a point and start discussing that. Never mind. You can simply say, I'm sorry, friends, maybe he or she has forgotten the point or lost the point. Never mind. We'll come back to him a little later. Meanwhile, let's discuss this. And you're off with the point. So here, after having lost the match also to an extent, you finally won the game. All right. So it all depends how confident you are. Simply don't go around picking people who are not speaking and say, all right, let him speak, let him speak. He may not speak. All right. I told you this, if there is a lot of chaos, you try to bring the normalcy. And if you try to bring normalcy in the group, you will definitely be chosen as a great leader. So leadership qualities will come. All right. And of course, by looking into each other's eyes and, appreciating what they are saying and getting appreciation for what you are saying, you will build a rapport with the group. And next time you want to speak, they will willingly give you the platform to speak. All right. So with these thoughts, with these points that I have pointed out over here, I'm sure you'll be able to do well in your GD. But then there is a lot more to be done in a GD. And the most important thing, as I've already told you, is to have good knowledge of whatever, you don't know the topic, so good knowledge of everything. Therefore, read newspapers and magazines on a daily basis. All right. Wish you all the best. Have a, great future ahead. And in case there are any questions that you want to ask, I am waiting for your questions and so that I can answer them now.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was a very informative session.
Right. Any questions or anybody has any doubt about what I said?
So we do have it in our chat. If you can just.
Yes. I've already got a question from. All right. I'm sorry, I missed the name. Anyway, so this person wanted to know that those 2, 3, 4 minutes that we get in the beginning when we are, thinking of the topic, then how should we do? Should we make some points or should we, write them down in sentences? See, the best way to do this is that we should make points. when we make points, it becomes easier for us to read them. Because if you're writing sentences, then if you're looking most of the time, now if I'm talking to you and reading something with a sheet of paper in my hand, how would it look to you? It won't look nice. So I have to maintain a good eye contact with you to grab your attention. And therefore, if I keep sentences from my notes, it won't be a good idea. Short points, bullet points, and pick on these bullet points and elaborate on them when you speak. All right. So bullet points, very important. Yes, please. Any other question or doubt?
Yes, sir. There's one. Vritti is there who has a question. She's not able to send a message, so I'm doing it for her. What if the question is,
right.
What if the topic of discussion is sometimes I know very less about and I have no worthwhile points to make?
Absolutely. Yes, it's a very common problem that we face, that we don't know, we don't understand the topic. Sometimes, abstract topics really corner us, and we don't know what to say and how to build our points. And even sometimes knowledge-based questions are, so difficult that we don't know what to do with them. See, first of all, I have all sympathies for those who are not able to generate points, because it is definitely not good that you're not able to generate points in the required time. So, first thing is that you wait. Don't open your mouth till you get a kind of an idea what this topic is all about. All right. Once you get a grasp of the idea, then you could build a point. Now here, I would also like to add that if the GD is for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and first 3 minutes have gone, pressure is already building inside you. Because you have not spoken, so pressure is now building inside you that I am not speaking. And maybe 4 or 5 speakers have already spoken till now. So now what you are wondering is that when will I begin to speak? And when means that when will I get a point? When will I understand the topic? So the point is that don't worry about this at this stage, that when will you speak. Worry about what is the topic saying. And to find out what this topic is saying, you have to pay attention to what the speakers are saying. So pay a lot of attention to the speakers and see what they are saying, and try to dwell on some idea, from what they are saying. Now, another minute passes, 2 minutes pass, so it's 5 minutes, 6 minutes gone. Believe me, you are now in that pressure cooker situation where, you have to let the steam out, because inside you, you're worried that you've not spoken. So you are actually fighting a losing battle now. All right. So I will go to the extent of saying that if you are still not able to gather any point, then just repeat what somebody has said. Itna to kar lo. So that you get a breather. Now your mind is also a little decluttered, and now you start thinking of some point and build some point. But do not, get yourself in this pressure cooker situation. Therefore, I always tell my students to speak in the first 2 or 3 minutes at least once, so that you know that you've already spoken. So next you have another 2-3 minutes to come out with your second point. All right. So it's a very unfortunate situation when you're not able to make points. If ultimately you cannot think of anything else, then just repeat what somebody has said. This may also release the pressure that you are under. Right.
All right, sir. I have a question from my side. There are times when in some discussions we give every person is given some slot, some time for them to speak, right, one after the other. So should we introduce ourselves during those times also, that I am so and so and I'll be I'm kind of with the topic or not? With the topic is as we have, yeah. Please go ahead.
No. Generally, what happens is that our names are already written there or our tags are there, or we have it on our chests, the name tags. And when we sit in a group, we are not supposed to take names, because sometimes it may happen that you know 2 people out of 10 or 12, and the others you don't know. So those 2 people you can call by name, and the others you call by my friend, or something like that is not fair. So do not try to take names in the discussion. Simply use words like my friend, my colleague, my dear friend. Those kind of words will be all right. Don't take names. Therefore, when you are speaking, then also, if the instructions are not very clear, you don't need to introduce yourself. Yes, if you are the 5th speaker and the first 4 have introduced themselves, then it becomes important that you also introduce yourself. All right? But it is absolutely not essential to introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you, sir. So anybody else who wants to ask some questions, they can put them in the chat box. So
I have one question already. It is by Parth Kohli, and he says, is it okay to politely you in someone's opinion and add or politely disagree with this point? Absolutely, Parth. I have no problem in saying that you can agree or disagree, but when you simply agree, what are you doing? You're only appreciating his work and therefore giving points. Don't be so liberal and generous towards others. You are fighting a battle over there, so no need to appreciate anybody. Yes, if you want to disagree, then please say yes, I completely agree with you, and then you show your disagreement. All right. Otherwise, no point in giving positive comments to others. You are only enhancing their chances. So don't appreciate. It's a battle that you has to be fought. And even if you're fighting it with your real brother, you will like to defeat him there. All right. Outside the GD hall, it's absolutely friends again. But in the GD, you are all competing with each other. So no need to appreciate anybody. But yes, you can disagree, but in a very polite manner. That was for Parth Kohli, who asked me this some time ago. I spoke about Parth. I also spoke about, is it safe to start GD? Yes, if you have strong points, you may start. You will get some bonus points. But if you don't have any strong points, then no point only starting the GD. You may not. You may lose some points also because you've not made some strong points. Yes, please. Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best in all your endeavors in future.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really a very informative session, and you answered all the questions. I hope everybody is satisfied and had some good knowledge about the GT discussions. Right. So before we conclude, I must remind you that this is a series of webinars, and the next Wednesday, same time, we'll be having a webinar on GMAT. So thank you so much, sir, once again.
All right.
And thank you everybody for participating.
All the best.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Sunil, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Sachin.
Yes. Thank you so much for organizing this. We'll be meeting the next time.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.